Let's see. Okay. I thought that it would be kind of cool to do Alister Crowley tonight. To share my screen, I'm going to have to kill all of the stuff. These are eyes back here. These are not what they look like. So these are eyes like these. Spooky. Let me see if I can turn it around so you see my Ouija board back there. Do. Okay, we're going to jump into this because of all the things that I've ever watched or anything. Alister Crowley actually scares me. This man seems to have got a hold of some kind of demons and stuff in this house. Not in this house, but yeah. Um, and he just really scares me. I don't know what it is. I mean, not like, oh my God. But I could sit and watch scary movies, but whenever I watch something about him, then I have to watch like cartoons before I go to bed. So, you know. Okay, here we go. Matt, my face. Okay, Alister Crowley was born Edward Alexander Crowley at 30 Clarendon Square in Royal Leamington Spa, Warwickshire, on the 12th of October, 1875. His father, Edward Crowley, also named Edward Crowley, lived from 1829 to 1887. He was trained as an engineer, but he but his share in a lucrative family brewing business, Crawley's Alton Ales, had allowed him to retire before his son was born. His mother, Emily Bertha Bishop, from 1848 to 1917, came from a Devonshire Somerset family and had a strained relationship with her son. She described him as the Beast. This is where he got the name the Beast 666. So that's a little bit about his early life. Um, the couple had married at London's Kingston Registry Office in November 1874 and were evangelical Christians. Crowley's father had been born a Quaker but converted to exclusive brethren, a fraction of a Christian fundamentalist group known as the Plymouth Brethren. So he grew up in what we would consider like the Bible Belt. Like he was taught the Bible immensely. Alister Crowley, like I said, was born October 12th, 1875. He died December 1st, 1947. He was an English occultist, philosopher, ceremonial magician, poet, painter, novelist, and mountaineer. And I want to also add some things that I found. Um, it's rumored that he was a spy. He was a writer. He wrote several books on different subjects, which we'll get to. Some believe he was the Antichrist written about in Revelations. He was born into money. He had money, and he founded the religion of Thelma, identifying himself as a prophet entrusted with guiding humanity into the Alister. It's Aeon, but it's the A and E is together. Of Horus in the 20th century. A prolific writer, he published widely over his course of life. Born a wealthy family, born to a wealthy family, maybe I'll get something right here, in Royal Leamington Spa, Warwickshire. Crowley rejected his parents' fundamentalist Christian Plymouth Brethren, faith to pursue an interest in Western Gnosticism. I've read this a couple times, by the way. He was educated at Trinity College at the University of Cambridge. Let's show some more pictures. Let's show some freaking pictures. Because apparently all of a sudden I become special when it came to reading. This was him as a young man. Oh. And this is going to be a long read, by the way. Crowley rejected his parents' fundamentalist Christian Plymouth Brethren, faith to pursue a Western that word. He was educated at the University of Cambridge, where he focused his attention on mountaineering and poetry, resulting in several publications. Some biographers allege that he was recruited into the British intelligence agency, further suggesting that he remained a spy throughout his life. In 1898, he rejoined the Gnostic Hymnic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he was trained with ceremonial magic by Samuel Little McGregor, Mathers, and Alan Bennett. He went mountaineering in Mexico with Oscar Eckerstein before studying Hindu and Buddhism practices in India. In 1904, he married Rose Kelly, and they honeymooned in Cairo, Egypt, where Crowley claimed to have contacted the supernatural entity named Awas, who provided him with the Book of the Law. I have that book somewhere. I ordered it. I've been trying to get the Devil's Bible, but you can never find that in the library. Nothing. It's always out. The person that you see here on the screen, I'm trying to find his name, was Herbert. I know that's his first name. And they had a little tryst together, and the school didn't realize that he dressed up in drag at local bars and stuff. And then it ended abruptly. Get on down here. Let me see here. Others believe that Alister was a genius, and his grandfather was in the Plymouth Brethren. 1875, he was born in England, studied the Bible, got really sick, and so he went to live with, I think, his uncle, and he got better. So then he moved back with his mom. God, he said, God and devil fought over my soul for 3 hours. Not, I want to know which one was God. 1898, he fell in love with a fellow classmate, Herbert Jerome Poet, and he dressed in drag as Diane de Rouge. That's the one we're seeing here. Sorry, I got nuts everywhere. These are some of the people that also joined the group that Alister Crowley. Yep, you're sitting there right. Bram Stoker followed, and this is one of the symbols. Honestly, I don't remember what the symbol was. He joined the Order of the Golden Dome. Um, he took drugs. He thought that that would help him like connect with the other world. This is Horus. Horus right here. Horus. And this is where the church of Thelma was. This is like the remains of it. And this was him when he was young. No, I'm just kidding. And he would have his people that would come into the church of Thelma sit and stare at this picture for hours and then tell them what they saw. This was him as an older man. And this is him a little bit older. It says, the wickedest man in the world is dead, proclaimed the British sensational press with relief when Alister Crowley died on December 1st, 1947. According to Crowley, though, it isn't finished yet. 1,000 years from now, Crowley once wrote, the world will be sitting in the sunset of the Crawletinity. The aggrandizing Crowley called himself the Great Beast 666. Again, he called himself the Great Beast 666, and many other tongue in cheek apocalyptic titles. The reaction from the shocked public seemed un- understandable. Maybe if I can spit it out. Crowley had dedicated his life to a feverish, uncompromising search for meaning. He experimented with magical cults, invented his own religion, and it is said that he drove some of his followers insane with the eerie rituals. I'll let you read this. You wanna, if you wanna. Crowley had been charged with sodomy, murder, and ritual rape. He is said to have advocated drinking blood of infants according to the Crowley diaries. He performed this sacrifice about 150 times per year from 1912 to 1928. So it is hardly likely that he actually murdered infants. Popular belief is now is that he is referring to the ritual masturbation and not literal human sacrifice. Crowley proclaimed that he had studied white and black magic, but he never practiced black magic. Lies. And he had always written it in the terms of strongest condemnation. I think this is the most famous picture of Alistair Crowley. That's him and his wife. This presentation is about the Bulkscan House. I'm trying to get that right. On the shores of the Loch Ness, which was as a honing lodge in the late 18th century. Archibald C. Fraser, who had served in the British consul in Tribute, I don't know these words, commissioned Boleskine House, although it was not finished until 1809. Having outlined all of his sons, the house would later pass on to his grandson, Archibald Fraser, and the estate remained in the ownership of the Fraser family until 1894. This is the house. I want this house. I've been thinking about looking it up and seeing, because there was fires and stuff. So I've been thinking about looking it up and seeing how much that it would sell for and buying it. This is Archibald. This is their graveyard. In 1899, British poet, mountaineer, and astrophysicist, I know I'm saying it wrong, Alister Crowley, purchased the house for €2,000, which was twice the market value at the time. The house, he believed, had provided more favorable location for his occult practices. He wished to conduct a series of rituals from the Book of Abramelin and in the mid-15th century manuscript of a Jewish mystical province that would become central to Crowley's new religion, Thelma, which he believed that would help make him contact or get him in contact with his holy guardian angel. I think he had a child that died too. I think that was the child that passed. This is another picture of the grounds in the house. Some of the books that he wrote on drugs was a Drug Habits, which he had a lot of. That wasn't the name of the book, though. The first book that I found was The Psychology of Haish. Abstin, the Green Goddess, Ethanol Oxide, Cocaine, The Great Drug Delusion, The Drug Panic. These are some of the books that I found that he had written. And go over to Absolute Oddities. That's where I got these pictures at, because they were excellent pictures and slides. So go over there and sub up. Credit to them. When Crowley first moved into the house, he found it necessary to write a letter of complaint to the local Vigilance Society. Prostitution, Crowley wrote, is the most unpleasant conspicuous in this area, is most unpleasantly conspicuous in this area. An officer of the society was duly sent to investigate, and deeply puzzled, reported that he could find no evidence whatsoever of prostitution. Crowley wrote back, conspicuous by its absence, you fools. Talking about because it's not there. Dun, dun, dun. This is Crowley. Before moving back to Boleskine, Crowley had been living in the rooms in the Chancery Lane, London, where he had fashioned two temples for his occult explorations, and one white and lined with 6 huge mirrors, the other black with an altar that supported by a figure of a black man standing on his hands and with a human skeleton that Crowley would feed from time to time with blood, small birds, and the like. The idea, he explained, was to give it life, but I never got further than causing the bones to become covered with a vicious, viscous slime. I think that's the altar. This was added, I think. That might be the altar. Alister Crowley brought Volkskin. I know I'm saying that wrong. With the express purpose of performing an elaborate magical ritual there. Part of this ceremony involves summoning the demonic entities and binding them with the goal of removing their negativity influences from the magician's life. This is a very dangerous ritual to attempt because regardless of what any magician tells you, demons cannot be controlled. Crowley's notary and the ritual is where much of his present day Bolskin legend comes from. I apologize for the words. Yeah, they spoke of levitation. Legend has it that the house was built on the site of a 10th century Scottish kirk or a church which had burned down, killing the entire congregation trapped inside. In an ancient publication compiled from the parish archives called An Account of the Kirk of Bulskund, it is recorded that the second half of the 17th century, a minister, one Thomas Houston, whose intricate, I don't freaking know, carved stone is, I should know that word, stone is still to be seen in the graveyard, where was called, oh Jesus, give me strength, was called from his man's by local when a notorious local wizard raised the bodies of the dead. Minister Houston had the most difficult task of laying them to rest again. One traveler kept a journal describing the graveyard at that period. After dinner, we took a walk to see the Kirk of Bulskin, the poorest edifice of any kind I have ever looked upon, and is also the manse. The churchyard is quite open without any walls, where you will see plenty of human bones above ground and on the floor, as the kirk is overspread with them. Oh, that'd be creepy. I know in 1899, Jimmy Page bought the house. He was actually, they put Crowley, um, who was it? John Lennon put him on the cover of one of his albums, Led Zeppelin, engraved "Do What Thou Wilt" on the album. David Bowie referenced quicksand in a song. The actual magical ritual which Crowley attempted to perform at Folkskin had nothing to do with the black masses or black magic. It is known that the Abramelin operation, taken from the Book of the Sacred of that a famous grimoire book of the magical knowledge, dating back to at least the middle of the 15th century. Crowley seems to have become aware of the ritual from 1897 translation of the book of the occultist Samuel Little Mathers, one of the founders of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which Crowley had joined in 1898 before falling out with most of its members, including Mathers, a few years later. We seen a picture of Mathers earlier. That's the book. This was just a horrible mess. One of these days, I promise I'll get one of these right. Whenever I do the Missy Beavers one, I have 118 slides. In March 1898, he obtained A.E. Waite's The Book of Black Magic and Pacts, and then Carl van Eckershood, The Cloud Upon the Sanctuary, furthering his occult interest. The same year, Crowley privately published 100 copies of his poem, The Acherondia, a place of strange burial strangers, in no particular success. He didn't have no success in it. I don't know what's going on with these. Kind of want to show you this was one of the actual rituals. Um, Whenever he went to Egypt with that girl, she actually got possessed and seen something, and he got mad at her because he felt like he was more, um, what would you say, more prone that he should have got the message and not her. You would not believe how much information. By 1914, Crowley was living hand to mouth existence, relying largely on donations from the A. This is A, and it's got three little dots in a triangle, and it's got A, three dots, A, three dots. Members and the due payments made to the OTA or OTO. In May, he transferred ownership of the Volkswagen house to the MMM for financial reasons. And in July, he went to mountaineering in the Swiss Alps. During the First World War, when it broke out, um, is when he went. After recouping from a bout of syphilis, Crowley set sail from the United States abroad, the RMS Louisiana, in October 1914, arriving in New York City. He's actually cremated and was buried in New York City. New York City. But I wanted to give you a little information about him. Not so jumbled up, but here we are. And Jimmy Page talked about how that house, there was something crazy in that house. He had started a ritual that was supposed to last, I think, 3 months or 6 months. and he didn't finish it. He was only supposed to drink bread or eat bread and drink water, and he didn't finish it, but he opened up that gate that let something in. And I'm a firm believer in the Ouija board. I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, let me tell you. But we may use it on Halloween. Leave down in the comments whether we should use it or not, because if you've ever used one, you know that that shit works. But leave down in the comments whether we should use the Ouija board on Halloween. And again, this is not what you think it is, it's eyes. And I will see you later. I know I'm an idiot. That's why y'all love me. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you later. Bye.